about. First thing being the CV or the resume. This is a very, very interesting question because different people tend to go about it very, very differently. But what I believe is a common trait that most people talk about when it comes to, I think, either if they're a recruiter or a YouTuber talking about building quality CVs, or a person who's gotten probably any job that he's really looked for, or she has looked for. Being concise is very, very important in a CV, because I've noticed people who have less than 3 to 5 years of experience, even freshers, writing a 1 to 2 page or even a 3 page CV, which does not make sense. Because to give you an example, industry leaders as of today, with over 20 years of experience holding vice president or managerial director roles or C-suite roles, don't tend to have a CV that is longer than 2 pages. And we're
Mm.
talking about people with over 20 years of experience. So I would say being concise is super, super important, especially if you're a fresher under 5 years of experience. Your CV cannot go more than 1 page.
Mm.
As a recruiter, when we recruit and we're looking at CVs, we go in with an intention, right? We already know what we're looking for, right? So being concise is super, super important, and all your information is put down in a very concise manner and a very easy to understand manner. If you're going to use technical jargons way too much, a
Mm.
recruiter may not understand it, which leads me to my second point being, a recruiter goes into his job looking for something in particular. So you may be an amazing fit for the role. uh, you may not be, I apologize, you may not be the best fit for this role, but that does not mean your CV is bad. That could also be the case.
Mm.
So one of the things that you need to focus on is creating a custom CV for a particular job. If you're applying for 10 different jobs, you
Mm.
cannot have the same CV everywhere. You need
Wow.
to create that custom CV very particularly for a job, because like I said, a recruiter is going into his work looking for certain things, right?
Mm.
For example, if I'm hiring for a um, a tech role, for example, I'm looking very particularly for Node.js experience. I
Mm.
am going to look at CVs looking for that keyword.
Mm.
Now, if you've created a very common CV that you sent for 10 different tech roles, looking for different things, you may not get selected for all of them.
Mm.
Very simply because the recruiter goes into it looking for a particular thing. So on the other side, don't get demotivated just because you didn't get selected for a certain, or get called for a certain interview. Because very simply put, you may be great, but you're not the right fit for that particular role. Number one. Number two is, so that's where it really helps. So if I have to really put it in a nutshell again, is number one, make it concise, make it easy to understand to a point where, unless it's the tech role, then of course you'll have to use certain jargons.
Mm.
Um, Easy to understand, very concise, and of course make sure you're customizing your CV for a particular role. I would say these are some of the most important things when it comes to building a CV.
Got it. And I think what can be very useful in this case is when you are applying, also to add to the second point that you made with having a different CV for every role, right? I think the information is fairly out there, and the recruiter makes it very visible what they're looking for when they mention the roles and responsibilities. So people, I guess, who are not paying that much attention to this and providing the same generic CV everywhere, they could do with actually reading exactly what the recruiter is looking for, because that's probably what is going to be expected out of your CV as well.
Right. And that's actually a great point, Pawan, because now that you mentioned that, there is a second side to it as well, where, of course, you'll beat out more than 90% of the competition just by doing a good job reading the job description and writing accordingly. And now you want to beat the 10% out. That's where, um, if you're if you really, really want that job, go open the company, look at what they're doing, see what they're looking for, look at their hiring history. How often have they had that role open? You go on LinkedIn, it'll probably show you how long that role has been open. Check out their websites. The more you know about the role, the better a CV you can make for the role and beat out that last 10% of competition as well.
Yeah.